Hello, everybody. So my presentation is on healthcare for trans, non-binary, and intersex people. So first, I'm going to get into some of the issues that I want to talk about. So first, there is the stigmatization, misinformation, and non-consensual surgeries on intersex folks. A quote that I found for this from some of the research about that is characterizing intersex as a type of disorder presupposes a clinical perspective with which not all intersex individuals agree. For example, intersex activists and educators specify that intersex itself is not a disorder, rather a variation. So that kind of ties in with the stigmatization and also the reasoning behind why these surgeries are deemed necessary. There's also the stigmatization and lack of actual research and statistics available for non-binary people. As regards health, gender nonconformity often becomes target of oppression and stigmatization, leading to negative mental and physical health outcomes. Research considering stress and health in non-binary and genderqueer people in comparison are still scarce. So that's kind of talking about the stigmatization around being gender nonconforming or non-binary and how that can cause issues. But even despite knowing that, not a lot of research has been conducted on how to help non-binary people with that. And then finally, stigmatization and lack of proper resources for trans individuals, especially when other parts of their identity intersect. That also goes for being intersex and non-binary. Transgender people face numerous health disparities as well as stigma, discrimination, and lack of access to quality care. Some health disparities include an increased risk of HIV infection, especially among transgender women of color, and lower likelihood of preventative cancer screenings in transgender men. So the lack of proper resources in healthcare then leads to trans people just getting hurt more. For some of the activism that is being done and some of the work that is being done, one that I've talked about before in prior classes I've taken that I just like the information and things like that, is funders for LGBTQ issues. Their focus is funding for grants, healthcare, COVID-19 relief, and so on, with the lens of helping LGBTQ plus people. I'm gonna move myself a little bit over there so you can see the whole thing. So this is from a 2015 report on how people can fund to help LGBTQ plus issues in healthcare. This is focusing on training, and as you can see, in general, there's a lot of people who have not gone through the proper training to help LGBTQ plus issues. However, the amount of transgender content that is not present, or the amount of people who didn't have any transgender content and training is pretty high, which is sucky. So funding for different training programs and things like that, just so it's more cohesive and well-rounded and actually includes these populations, is very important. And I am moving myself back to the middle. Hello. Another thing is the Intersex Justice Project with the lovely, the one and only Pigeon Paganis, as we've already learned and talked about, as well as the hashtag End Intersex Surgery on Twitter. So this kind of hits a couple of things. I'm not going to read this whole slide because it's a lot of information, but basically this is the Intersex Justice Project's kind of what they work to do. And so it's education as well as working with other organizations, and then clearly targeting and talking to hospitals and practitioners that are using these, that are doing these surgeries and calling them out on their shit, basically. And there actually has been some change made. I follow Pigeon on Twitter, and there's been a couple hospitals that now have actually stopped doing at least some of the surgeries. Not all of them, of course, because we still live in a shitty world that has Western and white ideals of what gender and sex is. So it is just all around not great. But even with that, some change is still good change. And then also going along with that, the Intersex Justice Project does have a bit of a focus on intersex people of color, because those who run the project, I'm pretty sure, are both or all, I don't remember how many people run it, are all intersex people of color. So yeah, there is that. And then as a final thing, this is going to get a little call to action preachy, and I'm sorry, but here are some things that you can do and that I can do and that people who just don't run these organizations can do. If you personally are going into nursing or counseling or education, things like that, you can be a voice, and you can call out when training isn't like focusing on these groups or doesn't even include them. If you're going to be an educator, you can talk about those issues and bring them up when normal curriculum doesn't. You can educate your peers and yourself from anywhere from like posts on social media to reading entire anthologies. Any education is good education as long as you are listening to the voices of those who are dealing with the oppression. You can get involved by donating your time or money. Money is a bit hard because we're all college students, but if you have a couple of dollars to spare to give to certain funds and things like that, go ahead. You can also give your time, whether it's going to protests or simply posting things online every once in a while. And one final thing is you can look into trans, non-binary, and intersex specific organizations or like offices for like doctors and counselors and things like that. Though a lot of them still need better training, a start is a start, and supporting these can help make that inclusion a norm. So yeah, thanks for watching.